Tali is a fighter, and she is bringing the fight to Eurovision 2024 for Luxembourg. Should we talk about it?
Let's
Let's
do
do
it.
this.
This is interesting. I think producers have done a good job masking some of the weaknesses of this performance from the national final. In Luxembourg, it felt very much like a TV talent show production. I was very much aware of like an X Factor vibe or a Voice vibe. But what they're trying to do, it seems, is take us to a fantasy land, take us into a Disney movie. I don't know, their take on Wakanda, where she is the queen, she is the fighter. We see a cheetah or a leopard at the end. You see people wearing presumably warrior costumes to fit with the theme of fighter. Point of story is this is not Luxembourg 2024 at the cafe, talking about finance and having a nice latte. No, this is fantasy land. And I think that was needed. It gives it more character. It makes it less sterile. It makes it more inviting, colorful. Kids might get wrapped up in, the LED is quite nice at times. I have it on while we're talking, so you may see my face going red because there's a lot of pyro and fire and pyro. It looks expensive. And I like her look. She looks like she could be one of Luna's dancers. If you covered her head, she would be one of Luna's dancers. But the pigtails of the braids work nicely. This has more character than it did, is my ultimate kind of judgment. And I like those boxes. We're going to go on a journey. So maybe we're inside the boxes and then we break free. Deb and Ederimi, Wiwibloggs.com. What's your take?
You say it's inviting, and there are two of her dancers that I'm already extending invitations to. I mean, this is, yeah. Interestingly, earlier on in the previous video, Bernardo Tavares made a point and said in the first rehearsal, you've got to show up in your costume. I'm really hoping this is not the final look because, yeah, no, it's just not. I mean, this just looks like a Pineapple Dance Studio workout gear. It doesn't look like a stage costume. So I'm hoping that gets swapped out. What I saw in Luxembourg, actually, I quite liked. And I really like the song, actually. I really like the song. This clip isn't firing me up, but it hasn't fired me up for a lot of the other entries that I've looked at. So I just think that this is a format that the EBU need to kind of rejig because entries are dipping in value. And so it's doing the opposite of what it intends to do. But I have hope. This is closing the show. It's a great it's a great pop number. It's good to have Luxembourg back after 30 years. Tali is telegenic. And, yeah, not the best dancer, but you know what? She's got amazing dancers. And that works too. And it's a good pop track. It's actually one of my most played songs. Yeah, I'm feeling confident, not based on what we've just seen, but just based on how I've journeyed with this entry.
Let me tell y'all, Devin is a lover and he is into fighters. So this is a good thing.
We can do both. Oxymoronic, but I'm all up for it, honey.
You're all about it. Bernardo.
Well, let me get this out of the way. I do think this is going to qualify based on its running order and the public that it caters to. Having said that, I think this is a whole mess on stage. Okay. I think the strongest point here is by miles Tali. Okay. And I'm not talking about her outfit because I'm with Devin on that one. I think it needs improvement. But I do think she's the star here. And I think she's being engulfed in these crazy LED displays. Sometimes a tiger shows up and then she's on that structure, on those boxes with the dancers, and then there's pyro, and then there's fire. And in the midst of all of this, where is Tali? I think that's what I'm left with looking at the pictures and looking at the TikTok clip. I want more of her and less of the rest. Because I think going a little bit against what William said, I think what worked in the national final performance is that, yes, the dancers were there, but it was mostly about her. And I think for Eurovision, they're swapping the script a little bit on that run. And I think it's more of the rest and less of her. And I don't understand if that's because during the campaign trail prior to Eurovision, people said that the song fell more or less on a forgettable category, and they were like, okay, let's put everything on stage, let's leave it all out there. And I think there's really no narrative here. I struggle to find a narrative from start to finish. I'm leaving my final judgment to when I see the final product, because again, it's very difficult to judge based on 10 pictures and 15 seconds from a TikTok clip.
Except you judged all the others.
And I'd say you've judged this pretty clearly as well.
Correct. Yeah, but based on pictures. But that's the thing. I'm basing this based on pictures. And I think it's important to leave a little bit of space open to when we actually see the final product, because sometimes pictures are not everything. Okay,
Luis.
So, I mean, my problem with Luxembourg is, I mean, I like the song. I think it's very correct. But I struggle to find the connection between the song and the stage performance. It already happened to me in Luxembourg, and I think we've kept that problem here. I don't really get why, when this is actually an uplifting and happy song, everything is so dark on stage. I'm not a fan of the costume neither, and I feel like there's a bit too much in general. I did like the backdrop, the LED. I think the cheetah was a nice addition. I'm a bit worried that the boxes might be a bit too much, but yeah, in general, I think it's probably going to qualify, but I struggle to connect with it, and yeah, it's kind of sad for me because I was really hyping Luxembourg's comeback to Eurovision, and yeah, I'm not connecting with it as much, and I don't know if it's the song's fault, the presentation's fault, or whatever, but I wish it was more spot on impact than it is, because I think they're trying to go on for a big show with lots of different things, and they may have missed the mark here.
I think cohesive is the word that you're looking for.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you're not connecting with the performance, and I don't think Tali's connecting with the camera. And that may be a function of watching through TikTok. This is the danger of uploading these clips where you have someone standing up at the side of the stage. You don't really know what's going on, because actually there's a man with the Steadicam circling Tali, and she is looking into the camera. So she probably is making the connection, but we just can't see it at this stage. Look, if I put all of our comments together, it's sort of, I talked about masking. Bernardo talked about not really having enough of Tali. Debin talked about, she's not a natural dancer. So it's almost like you're not a natural dancer, but you want the camera on her. You've got to match. There's just, I think producers are having to triangulate between a lot of different things. And actually what they've landed on is a very good compromise in my mind. I love the visuals because it's, okay, they're mountains. I didn't even notice. Now they're like purple mountains and orange mountains. Look, take me to Wakanda. Take me wherever we are. I haven't seen many animated or sci-fi films lately. We are somewhere. We are somewhere. And I'm glad we're there, because nothing else looks like this in the semifinal. Not many people are giving us Fantasyland. I mean, you've got Moldova doing it with Claris works, like pre-Photoshop sort of clip art, but it's beautiful. Whereas this is like the elevated take on fantasy sensual. Yeah, the outfit, gosh, I wonder if there's going to be some projection mapping of some kind, and it's made of a special material so that she will become the background. She'll emerge from it. Because Luxembourg has cognal, so I count nothing out. But I do take your point. If she's wearing black amid all this color, she does disappear. Like, because at times the stage goes black, and so you're left with a floating head, in essence. Oh yeah, I can't wait to see more. Final thoughts. Is this going through to the final? Forming last bodes well. There's an 80% success rate from the final spot in the past 5 years. I looked it up before we came in. 84% actually. That bodes well. Why is she wearing a shark tooth? Has she been in the ocean with Moana? I don't. Where I'm trying to figure this out. Devin.
I think it would be really unfortunate for Luxembourg to have stepped out of the game for 3 decades only to come back and crash in the semis. So I think, I think this will go through. My issue is not so much with Tali or with the entry itself. It's actually about this format. This format isn't selling the entries. Typically, I did a run of reviews yesterday until I asked to step aside from them because it wasn't giving me what I needed it to give me. So, and I think the problem replicates itself. Will this qualify? Yeah, I think it. I think it should, and I think it will. I think this is a strong entry. And yeah, people are talking about, narratives connecting with the song, visuals and stuff like that. There are lots of songs that are huge in popular culture that have completely disconnected narratives or wardrobe choices. And, they've become sort of blueprints in our minds. There are lots of sad songs that we take to the dance floor and kind of hit it hard and we're kind of bumping and grinding to it. But actually, the lyrics of it are deeply unpacked. The Sound of Music is about Nazis chasing out the Von Trapp family out of Austria, and then they walk all the way to Switzerland. And yet, this is a film that makes millions of people so happy. So, I don't always need things to mirror exactly what they are trying to convey. And fighter does not necessarily mean, kind of hitting the front lines and, with machine guns. It can mean different. It can mean that, but it could also mean other things. So yeah, I think actually this is really tasteful, and I'm very confident. Actually, the more I talk about this, see you at the grand final.
I'm glad we had this therapy session, Devin. And just for the record, I read on Wiwibloggs.com, the lyrics are about having confidence to live the life you want. So you are correct, fighting in a figurative.
Well, I mean, yeah, but then but that also sounds corrective to what leaked previously. I mean, the point of the story is different meanings, different days. And you and I have journeyed through so many songs over the years, and Let There Be Light. We know those songs that have touched us in more ways than one.
Absolutely. Block all evil. Bernardo.
Yeah, overall, I do think this is going to advance based on where it stands in the running order.
How did that do for Moye 3? How did that do for Moye 3?
Mm-hmm.
Triana Park.
Yeah. Triana Park, yeah.
Exactly.
Oh,
exactly.
No, but that's the thing. Amidst when's the last pop girly before her? This is like song number 4, song number 5. So the people will be craving that pop girly performance, and she will deliver it. Tell me.
Is Iceland not a pop girly performance? Or is it more of a pop mother performance?
It's mother. It's
Okay.
giving mother.
Just clarifying. Sorry.
Yeah, it's giving mother. No, but I do think there's enough here to make this advance based on where it stands in the running order. I would not, but at the other side, I would not be surprised if this does not advance, if this pulls a Triana Park. I don't think it will, but I wouldn't be surprised.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with that. I think it should qualify basically because it's very accessible to everyone. And the song itself, I mean, it's not that it's bad. It's just, for me, it's not measuring up to all the other stronger entries that come earlier in the semifinal, particularly the first half of the semifinal. But this will come 15th in the running order after a lot of songs that many people don't have so high in the rankings. Not me, for example. I have Portugal very high though. But I don't know. I feel confident that Luxembourg will qualify. Maybe because I'm just thinking you wouldn't be back after 30 years and stay in the semifinal. I don't think that's. I mean, you could, but would you? I don't know.
But
I'm counting them.
I mean, it's the way they came back after this long absence and is like, oh, runner up for a song that, in my opinion, are you kidding me? The other thing to point out as well is that running order actually is being flipped on its head, because whoever's going to vote for Luxembourg would see it last, giving them less time to vote. Than,
That's only for the grand final.
Final only.
Sorry?
That's all. You only vote from the beginning for the grand final. The semifinals.
Right. Okay. Okay. Good point.
But to cut a long story short, I agree with y'all. I do think this will go through. I just don't. Yeah, they've got a lot of money, so I think we're going to see a very expensive performance. I think it's going to be very slick, and they've done a very good job with what they have, and I think it's going to bear fruit. And I personally love the fantasy background. Little kids will too. So, you know, those baby lasagna voters, they're voting for him at the beginning. You know, they've jotted a note and they're going to vote for her at the end because there's also a cat here, and cats always win. All right, that's what we think. What do you think? Is Luxembourg going through to the final? Do you love this fantasy scape? Let us know here on Wiwibloggs.
Don't forget to follow us on every social media possible.
And click on the notification bell to follow all things Eurovision 2024 and the Emporia Lounge starting next week in Momo.
And what's on your fighter mood board? We will check it out on Pinterest if you leave your comments below in the comment section down below.
We'll see you later.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.